Hey guys, it has been a fair while since I've been on the channel. I thought I'd pop on and just record a wee video to explain what's been happening around here and the future of the channel going forward. So last year, as you know, I was kitting out my van and it has been kitted out and used a few times now. I have a couple more videos to come, but more on that in a moment. So last summer-ish, some things happened around here. I had a big health scare and there was lots of other life stuff going on, and it kind of put a few things into perspective, and I needed to take some time to figure out exactly what I was going to do. And during that, something had to take a back seat, and that was basically YouTube. Both this channel, my homestead channel, and also my knitting podcast channel. Everything just kind of had to take a bit of a back seat. So I carried on recording what I had left to do on the van, and I recorded my first trip away in her as well, which was at the end of August, beginning of September time. I have all that footage, it just needs editing. I think there's 2 more van build videos, which is the finishing touches and the first trip away video. Since then I have been away in her a few times and I've really enjoyed it. In fact, last week I just came back from a week away with John. We both went in the van and managed to fit in relatively comfortably. I've actually installed a swivel seat on the passenger side, which I didn't record because it was such a pain in the backside to do, but there are other videos on how to do it in one of these vans already on YouTube, and that came in really handy for John to be able to sit in the passenger seat while I could sit on the bed like on an evening and such like. That trip away made me realise a few things, well, all the trips away really, and that kind of brings me to the future of the channel. So one moment. We have a lot of motorbikes around today. There either is a group of them up on holiday or there is some sort of a biking event. We have a couple of them on the island, but I don't know what the dates are. So going forward, I've decided I'm going to rejig the layout of the van. I know it's a good setup, but I feel like I can make it better. So my idea with doing the layout that it is I have my bed in a fixed position all the way down behind the driver's seat, down the length of the van. And my plan was that, having camped in the Land Rover camper that we did before this, it was a pain in the backside having to make the bed up every night, every time you wanted to go to bed. I wanted a fixed bed so I could literally just take the top throw off, fold out my duvet, get into bed, job done, and in the morning fold up my duvet, put a throw on the top, keep everything nice and clean, and that was it. Great idea in principle. But what I found I was doing was I was pulling out the pullouts up to this cupboard at the top half anyway to give myself extra room for my arms when I slept. When you're sleeping on a narrow bed, you end up sleeping kind of like this, and it was really uncomfortable, and I wanted to be kind of, you know, sleeping like this sort of thing with my arms, and to do that I was having to pull out the pullouts and put my back cushions in place. So I was ended up basically half making up my bed every night anyway. And then when we were both away, which is not something we're planning on doing together in this small van frequently, it's too small for that really, I was obviously having to make up the full bed. So the reasoning for having the fixed narrow bed was no longer happening. So what I'm planning to do is make a bed that works as a seat across the full back width up to the cupboard's width, and then pulls out lengthways. So I will have to make up the bed every night to sleep in. I will talk more about that when I actually come to do the process. And the cupboard will move to the other side of the van. The driver's side will go right to the front, across the front slide, across the driver's side slider door. That makes sense. And I'm going to put a big cupboard beside it here that goes floor to ceiling, so I have more storage. I have a real lack of clothes storage in here. When I went away myself, I have like a small container to put clothes in, but if you're having to do several activities, it's just not enough room. And when we were both away, we end up having a hold all that I was having to find places for it. So a floor to ceiling cupboard here means I will have more clothes storage, I will have more food storage under the bed, and more garage space. So that is the plan for the van at some point in the near future. As for plans for the activities in the van, I've decided, having spent the last week or previous week with John away and doing a lot of walking, that I want to do a lot more walking, long distance walking. I used to be a big, well, I don't know if I was a big walker, but one of my main hobbies used to be long distance walking, but medium distance walking. I would often go away camping in my tent, and then from there use that as a base and spend the entire day doing a big long distance loop back to my base. And that is where I found my most joy out in nature, and this past week has really reminded me of that fact. We did a lot of walking, relatively so. John's had issues with his legs the last few years, so we had to take it steady, but we did do well over 30 miles for the 5 or 6 days that we were away, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'd like to do some long distance walking routes. I always had certain ones on my bucket list, like Limestone Way, the what's that one that runs all down the UK? I can never remember the name of it. The one that runs the Pennine Way, that's the one. I think I have a little way to go till I'm ready for the Pennine Way, but it was on the bucket list 20 years ago, and obviously when I was living in Derbyshire there was lots of Derbyshire long distance walks like the Limestone Way. Now I'm in Scotland, there's a few I would like to do. I have done the Great Glen, which I did a few years ago with Mum. There are some other ones I would like to do as well. There is the Loch Lomond 360, there's the Speyside Way, there's the West Highland Way, East Highland Way. There's a few I would like to do. Obviously building up to, I need to do some kind of mid-length ones first, and I will probably end having to double them up in length because I will be camping in the van, so I'll have to park up, walk part, come back if there's no public transport, and then move my van the following day and do it again. So I might end up walking the Speyside Way twice at this rate, but I think I will enjoy it. So of course I will document what I do with the van for changes, and I will be documenting my camping, walking, holidays in the van. And once the van's done, obviously the van is done, so that will be the content going forward and my adventures in the van, and hopefully there will be many more of them. I'm really looking forward to being able to find an excuse is probably the wrong word, but a reason for leaving the island and doing trips. When I finished the van and I did a couple of trips, then I thought it's hard sometimes to justify going off island to do, say, a camping trip in the north of Scotland when you don't have something like a goal in mind. We've lived in the north of Scotland for 17 years now, and we've seen a fair few of the sites, the roads, the places and such like, and you pass through quite a bit when you are up and down the country, and sometimes it can feel like, well, I'm just kind of going back to where I've been and I've seen and what have you. So having a goal or a task to achieve feels good, and I think that was what was missing once the van was complete, was having reasons to use it, places to go. But now that I've rediscovered my love of hiking and walking, I now have a reason to leave the island and go off and do trips, because I'm not necessarily looking for tourist spots or the site to see, or do the NC 500, which if you do the NC 500, I must warn you, the roads between Thurso, actually the roads on most of the NC 500 are really bad. We came back via the west side and oh, it was bad. That top road is bad. Just warning you, don't go there unless you're really just good suspension. So yes, that is the future of the channel going forward. I hope you will come back and you will stick with me. I am again sorry that I have been absent for so long. There have been reasons, lots of personal reasons, which I won't go into in great detail. So yeah, hopefully cup of coffee, and a toast of coffee to the future of the channel going forward. Thank you for watching to the end, and I shall hopefully see you very soon. Bye bye.